Promothosh Borua passed away in 1951, and with his demise, the Bengali cinema suddenly found itself without a bankable hero. Ashit Barman was there, and so were Durgadas and Dhiraj Bhattacharya. However, none of them had the screen presence to sweep the audience off their feet in one film after another. Bosu Paribar, directed by Nirmal Dey and released in 1952, is an extremely important film when looked at retrospectively. This is not only because the director went on to make Saare Chuattor, a film which till date remains one of the finest comedy films in Bengali, but more importantly, it had a hero who looked assured and raised the potential to fill the vacuum left by Borua. The hero, whose screen name was Uttam Kumar, played the role of the eldest brother of the Bosu family, who ensured that his near ones are financially secured. Ironically, for almost 3 decades since then, Uttam Kumar played this role in the context of the Bengali film industry and remained its most bankable star. In Saare Chuattor, Uttam Kumar was cast for the first time with Suchitra Sen. They were repeated in 1954 in Ora Thake Odhare, which seemed to have taken a leaf out of Saare Chuattor. The runaway success of the film ensured that the couple had been accepted by the audience, hungry to behold a new romantic on-screen pair after the heady days of Borua and Kanun Devi. In 1954, Uttam went on to act in 6 films with Suchitra, the same number he shared with another leading lady of the decade, Savitri Chatterjee. The biggest hit of 1954 was Agrodu's Agni Porikha. This is the first film of Suchitra and Uttam where both their names appear as the first names in their respective title cards, indicating the trend of their popularity, a phenomenon which never ceased till their last film together. One of the highlights of the films of Suchitra and Uttam is the natural sparkle of the heroine, a model which fitted Suchitra better than any other heroine of her time, like Savitri or Supriya. This portrayal of the self-reliant, modern and smart woman is a distinct departure from the earlier generic portrayal of women on the Bengali screen. It has to be borne in mind that the 50s represent the first decade of independent India, and the aspirations and anxieties of the youth were markedly different from their predecessors. In many ways, they were fueled by Nehru's dream of a modern nation, which among other characteristics had broken free from the constricting customary social laws and was eager to shape its identity in terms of individual choices. Central to this dream was the figure of the romantic couple, modern yet not excessively westernized, who had the courage to challenge traditional norms of family structure, often go against patriarchal strictures, and find a haven in their togetherness. The films of Suchitra and Uttam seem to embody such a potential as a couple more than any other on-screen couple of Bengali cinema at that time. In the 50s, Suchitra and Uttam acted in 22 films. The screenplays of these films, often written quite exclusively with the star pair in mind, had several elements that satisfied the deep, unconscious longing of its audience for a certain kind of romance, once that involved a period of anguish and suffering leading to a fulfillment in each other's arms. Most importantly, in spite of the often abstract dreamlike landscapes that formed the backdrops of the famous duets sung by Hemanta Mukhopadhyay and Sandhya Mukhopadhyay, the films were rooted in contemporary social reality. Thus, class, caste and race differences and problems of familial or specifically patriarchal objections were issues that the romantic couple had to address. Their desire and longing was moved in strong ethics, and it is this that allowed them to go against the tide of tradition. Most of these films portrayed the middle-class educated man migrating to the city from the village, and as a result, they were often detailed shots, mostly long shots, where one finds the hero wandering in the streets of the city. This wandering of the hero in the big city of Calcutta, though similar in incidence to Raj Kapoor's tramp wandering in the city of Bombay, has a completely different connotation and mood. Kapoor's tramp was modelled heavily on Charlie Chaplin, and the communion in the end with the heroine, again mostly from the affluent class, like Suchitra's characters, was passionately intimate. On the contrary, in positioning Uttam Kumar rarely in close-ups, most of the early directors of these films ensured that Uttam had the necessary identification of the battered Bengali, who, like themselves, is a common man struggling to survive. Perhaps Uttam's apparently mediocre features, as opposed to Borua's princely yet distant charm, helped in positioning him as one of the masses. This is important, since in the 60s and the 70s, when Uttam's stardom became more self-assured and his stylizations more signature-driven, we could find more close-ups of Uttam in the typical sense, where a star is portrayed with all his famed mannerisms. There is another important aspect to the star couple of Uttam and Suchitra. In line with the Victorian morality intact in the middle-class Bengali home, we find Uttam as the most ideal hero Bengali cinema can dream of. Modest and honest, a dependable star who is the son, the father or the brother everyone hopes to have, and of course the companion any girl looks for. These fairy tale-like features define the scope and periphery of the film star, and that is why, even in situations where he is debased, he never falls from grace. The hero doesn't have a despicable vice, and very importantly, in deference to Bengali middle-class virtues, his conjunction with the heroine is almost asexual. The hero places mental and emotional virtues on such a high pedestal that it seems that physical attraction has to be subdued. It will forever be unknown as to why, after being such a success in the 50s, Suchitra and Uttam decided to drift apart, making only 8 films in the next 2 decades, about a third of what they did in the 50s itself. In a tribute to Uttam Kumar after his untimely death in 1980, Ray was generous in praising the actor. But later, in a different interview to Andrew Robinson, he was a bit scathing, perhaps quite unnecessarily. Quote, "I never bothered to explain the character to him, so I never discovered whether he really understood the implications of the part. And it doesn't really matter whether he did or did not. I didn't discuss the psychology of the part at all. I merely told him that this is what you have to do. Trust me and it should be all right." Unquote. This remark, in particular, creates a doubt in the critic's mind. This is perhaps the primary reason why Andrew Robinson and the other Western critics failed to gauge the depth of Uttam's portrayal of Arindam, the hero, in Satyajit Ray's Nayok. Any serious analysis of Uttam's earlier films will reveal his body language, which is firm yet complements that of the heroine, primarily Suchitra's. The two form a whole, the fulcrum of the modern family that set out to explore and establish. Unlike Borua's pale fragility, Uttam's physique gave the Bengali male ego a sufficient boost to win a girl as coveted as Suchitra. The slight physical effeminacy that there is actually an extension of the mental coyness that makes him so endearing to women of any age or class. To measure him against a button or the later-day macho heroes is to completely miss the social relevance that Uttam as a phenomenon stood to represent. The moment of glory for Uttam Kumar came in 1968 when he received the Bharat Award for the Best Actor in the National Film Awards for his roles in Chiriyakhana and Antony Firingi, both made in 1967. Uttam was active for 13 more years after Chiriyakhana, his last Ray film. From the 70s, he slowly turned more towards character roles, though his untimely death robbed us of our chance to witness his true potential as a mature character actor. Uttam's demise in 1980 created a void that remains mostly unfulfilled. The later heroes failed to match his charisma and his enormous capability of drawing the audience to the movie theaters.